Bright suns and rising moons, fellow droids. Welcome to another episode of Not the Droids podcast. I'm Mary,
And I'm Danny.
and today we are continuing our journey into The Mandalorian Season 1 with chapters 3 and 4, titled The Sin and Sanctuary. Um, I assume they came out weekly, right?
Yes, so this was November 22nd and November 29th of 2019.
Yeah. This is This is where I was saying in the last episode, like the first three episodes go well together. And then the fourth episode was kind of just like a meow,
Yeah,
like, what is happening? This has nothing to do with what we learned. But I think like it's part of the story, but at the same time,
yeah.
very different. Um, this is where he turns in the baby, the child. And that's so much Bhaskar. Like so much.
Like a whole, like, he has to hit buttons and
And this is where they talk about him getting armor from scratch. And uh, she's like, you're going to be noticed. And I realize now, after that first episode, that he's literally a walking fortune
yeah,
in that Beskar steel.
yes. And he's shiny.
Super shiny. Like they didn't color it, nothing. And again, it
And they
comes
talk about
back.
a seal too.
Oh yeah, to seal it.
The
Well, he didn't get one,
he didn't
right? They
get
talk
one.
about the Mudhorn, but he knows that that win wasn't his
Yes.
because Grogu is the one that actually.
And the way he words it is, my enemy helped me. He didn't
And
know he was my enemy.
this is what made me think that maybe it's the problem with Grogu is not that he's a Jedi, like in general, but to the Mandalorian, he's a Jedi. And there must be some sort of beef that we don't know
I
about yet.
I think he's just like, this is a bounty and he's done something, which is why I'm supposed to be
That's not what I was thinking because,
looking.
like, I feel like we don't really know a lot about the fall of Mandalore, what
No.
caused it, and all of that stuff. But from what we do know from the Clone Wars, we watched that trilogy. We know that Mandalorians were neutral,
Yeah.
and the Death Watch that wasn't neutral was on the side of the Empire. And so this is
I'm
where I'm
not
like,
sold on Mando realizing he's a Jedi yet.
okay. I'm just like wondering if he does or if he just thinks
And I guess technically he is not a Jedi because he's not trained.
he's not trained.
He
He's
is
just force
force
sensitive.
sensitive right now.
So maybe it's just like applies to users of the force. He
Yeah.
had to have known that's what it was after the whole Mudhorn incident. That thing was floating off the ground.
Yeah.
As far as I know, in this like uh universe, only Jedi can do that.
Yeah. So,
And so like even if he doesn't know that like what exactly he is, he must understand a little bit of the force because that's the whole reason for the Clone Wars.
yeah. Mhm.
And so this is where cuz like knowing what we know about the religion that he partakes in, including the symbols that they use, right? Because like we saw those in the like Mandalore episodes of the Clone Wars.
Okay. So, The Mandalorian takes place about 28 to 30 years after the end of the Clone Wars.
Which
So
makes sense.
it's possible. So we see the scenes of Mando as a kid.
Yeah,
He has
that's
become a
after, do you
foundling.
think?
I think it is safe for us to say that there's a high probability that Mando lost his parents during if 28 to 30 years. I could put Mando at like 35 to
Maybe the
to
fall of
40.
Mandalore.
I don't know if it'd be the fall because he's
So
become a
like,
Mandalorian. He was a foundling.
but during the Clone Wars.
Yes. I because if it was during the fall, he wouldn't have been a foundling that was trained
Yeah.
in the Mandalorian way. So
Yeah.
I think there's a high probability that during the Clone Wars is when and why Mando
Yeah.
became a foundling, which may be his enemy disdain because they would have been aware of Jedi at that point.
Yeah.
So
I think,
he should would have at least, if not a
well,
legend,
because
but would have
also
heard of.
the question is, this is a rewatch, right? So, like, how much into spoilers of Mandalorian do we get? Because, like, we know more about Mando later on, that I also think, like, the people that raised him probably hated Jedi, from
Possibly.
what I understand.
Yes. And even if they did not, because of how he became a foundling,
Like, that war would have caused his,
as a child, the imprint of the war and knowing that the Jedi were involved in it
maybe that's
may
why.
have given him that imprint of this is why I was raised this way
Yeah,
because my parents were no more.
that is true. I will say, I came back around to the stupid currency question because Grief Karga, the arranger, got 2 plates of Beskar steel, and he goes, "I'm rich." And so I was just like, how many credits is that plate of Beskar worth? What is the conversion? Because that is wild. I mean, it worked out for him like, he kept it in that pocket, and I think that was purposeful. That when Mando shot him in the chest, he knew there was Beskar steel there.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, but this is where it's like you get into a little bit of the politics of, like, the Mandalorians underground
Hmm.
and the bounty hunter politics, right? Because, like, he was gonna leave. I wrote he was gonna leave, but he ends up coming back for Grogu because he overhears them talking about killing him. And this is where I was just like, I wonder if they only wanted a sample of his blood to measure, like, the midichlorians and possibly, like, clone him or something.
At this point in the Star Wars universe, we are not using midichlorians as a basis anymore. It's kind of stricken from canon at this point.
Oh, really? It's
We
not like a
had
real
it in
thing.
like earlier, yeah, it's not really referenced at in the Star Wars universe, people don't use that term anymore, essentially. And that it's more force sensitive than like a level of I
Yeah.
yeah. That's like very nitty-gritty Star Wars canon stuff.
I was like, I don't understand everything we've seen up until this point talks about it. But okay. But whatever. I wonder if they're looking for a sample of his blood for, because, like, they had the thing with the needle out. You saw it in the
I'm
shadow.
assuming it is for cloning purposes or to create something to harness his power in some way,
Yeah.
knowing that force sensitivity is shown in the blood, but it's not because of creatures in your blood.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And I think that's where, yeah. It's,
I didn't think that midichlorians were creatures. I just thought it was a marker.
I don't know if they're actually creatures, but in my head they sound like creatures.
I thought it was, like, kind of like a genetic marker or something in the blood. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Okay.
Midichlorians are microscopic intelligent life
Oh
forms
no, stop it.
that reside within the cells, acting as a bridge to the force.
Okay, so then
They
I
are
agree
not the
with
force
you.
themselves, but rather enable force-sensitive beings to perceive and communicate with it.
Then I agree with you. That is a stupid system of measuring force
That's why
sensitivity.
that's why I think like later on they were like, this is no longer a thing. They're just force sensitive
I didn't
now.
realize that they were, like, little intelligent, like, nanobots in the blood, essentially. Um, okay, so maybe they're just studying and wanting to clone him or something to that effect. Um, but it is very interesting to see the doctor fighting to not let him be killed. And so that's what Mando,
Pedro Pascal just
why did he
about
knock on the
survives fire.
door? He could have just blown up the side like he planned to. I assume it was to split up the stormtroopers, but it
Hmm.
was a whole thing. Yeah. And then my favorite line in this whole episode is when Grief Karga is like, there's no way out. I'm your only hope. And I was like, oh, did we put that in there on purpose?
Yes, we did. Yes. Yes, we did.
But I will say, as much as the other Mandalorians didn't like this Mandalorian, because we don't know his name yet, and I forgot it already. Um, they did show up, and it makes me wonder what actually goes into moving the cohort, and how hard is it to move this giant blacksmithing operation? Like, they're just like, yep, it's already in progress. How? Do they have a ship? Do they break everything down into pieces? This is another logistical nightmare for me. How does this happen?
I'm assuming there is most likely a ship of some sort because they are essentially in hiding. So they naturally need to be able to relocate
And
quickly.
move. Yeah. I do like the throwaway line at the end of this episode about the Mandalorian with the jetpack and this Mando being like, I need to get one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cute. I really like this episode plus the two before. I will say not having a break between this episode and the next episode does the next episode a disservice.
Hmm.
Because I could not stand it. I was like, first of all, another Twilight reference. That's Leah. That's Leah right there, the same actress. And so I was like, guys, is there a Twilight to Mando pipeline somewhere? Because I can't stop thinking about Twilight while watching Mandalorian.
We may need to research that. I
But it's the
think
same actress.
this episode allows us to, one, meet new characters, two, give us a little history without giving us a history lesson. And
And
I
I
think
get
that's
that.
part of it is that we like, especially when this came out, like people weren't rewatching the Clone Wars a lot. Like the people that loved it, but new people weren't going to watch
So
the.
they needed some
They
context.
needed people to understand the what this is the way means. Like what is the way of the Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Because up to this point we really don't know. We have learned they don't remove their helmets. And it was in that
Yeah.
conversation where our blacksmith is confirming that Mando has never taken off his helmet, no one's taken it off of him. So in this setting, we are learning what those rules are because it would have felt like a disservice and it wouldn't have fit in really well with the first three episodes. Because
Yeah.
the Mandalorian shouldn't be explaining to the Mandalorians what the helmet thing was a good way to put it in, but they couldn't go through all the other like technical.
Yeah, I guess there's that. I just like the whole, and it also, I think, explains what happens to some of the old like Empire equipment that gets left behind, right? Like the other people learn to operate it and take advantage. The weird blue shrimp, I couldn't again. I just like every time I'm watching this, all apparently I think about is Moana and Twilight. Because I saw it and I was like, oh, it's bioluminescent.
Yeah, that's what I think these episodes are for.
Yeah, I also
And
think
I
it's,
think it's a way of also watching Mando form. It's like his mind is changing.
and he's forming attachments to Non.
Yes, because initially he was like, this is just a job. And it was a way to be like, okay, now
Oh, because
he's.
they were like, take some time off. And he's like, no,
Hmm.
what's the next job? So
Yeah.
I guess it gives you context to like him as a character the world at the time. And I also think like a little bit of what his skill set actually is, because like truly watching this, it's like it's high, but it's not great. He got whooped a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
He also
like
can't see in that helmet, so
that's why I was like, at one point he literally got folded in half, and I was like, "Oh, damn." But yeah, and I guess the only thing this also solves the question of why didn't he just hide Grogu, right? Like, because he goes to do that, and then they realize that he still has a tracker on him, or he's still being tracked somehow. I don't know how those bounty hunter tracking things work, but like he's still being tracked somehow.
yeah.
So I guess that's like truly the purpose of this episode is just like expand the cast of
Yeah,
characters.
I think this is like the background information in a new way without doing a background episode.
Yeah.
And
And I wonder
because
if I feel bored of this because we've seen so many iterations of it in the Clone Wars. And
possibly.
you're like on a Blackwater planet, they have
Yeah.
a issue that they need help with. You help them, they fight for themselves. I feel like we've
Yeah.
seen so many
We've
episodes of
seen
the
this
Clone
story
Wars.
before, but I think this a lot of this was to be like, how did we go from the
Yeah.
child being returned as a bounty to
Now
Mando now
hiding on Backwater.
protecting?
Well, because he also has that like little ditty in the beginning, right? Where he's just like, this planet looks perfect. There's no like port.
Mhm.
There's no there's there's no population density. There's no cities,
It's a
right? So
good
like
hiding
there's
spot
it's a good
in
hiding spot
theory.
in theory. Apparently not.
Yeah.
No hiding spot is a good hiding spot because of that tracker.
Yeah.
She's like, what are they tracking? How are they tracking people? Um, but yeah, I guess I can accept it. I just like didn't enjoy watching it.
Yes. And I'm wondering if it was paired with the next episode, which we have not watched, if
Yeah,
it would have
so
been more of a,
but that's what I mean. I think if there was separation between these two, that would have been an easier watch.
yeah.
Especially like I can't remember what the next one is about. So we're gonna be doing chapters 5 and 6 next. So the gunslinger and the prisoner. This is our way. I do love the like one-liners. This is the way, and I have spoken.
I have spoken. Is
Um,
the way.
this is our way.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so we got some new characters. We're getting investment from Mando. We don't know where this is going, except the fact that we are rewatching it. We do know where this
Yeah,
is.
we do know where it's going,
But right now,
but
we don't know where this is
well,
going.
but Mando doesn't even know where this is going, right? Like he was trying to see if he could actually hide this kid.
Yeah, he
Turns
was
out
going.
he cannot.
Mando was going to do what was done to him. He was going to place him in a place where he
He
could
could thrive.
thrive and grow. But obviously, that is not the case for our young child who had a very large bounty on his head.
Yeah, and that's where I'm just like, then he knows that he's going to have to keep moving. And he also can't take bounties anymore because he
He's on a
betrayed the guild.
list. He broke the deals.
Yeah, he betrayed the guild. So, um, we're gonna see him, I guess, just like doing things. This is very like Firefly-esque now that I think about it. Like he has to
Yeah.
do things to one, pay for the ship and the fuel, and still hide the kid.
It does kind of have a
And
Firefly vibe now that you say
right?
that. I'm like,
I was
yeah,
like,
it's kind of space
mm,
western.
yes, we're it is space
It's
western.
not it's not as western as Boba Fett is, but it is
Oh
space
God, Boba Fett
western.
was so western.
Very
I
western.
had a hard time watching Boba Fett. Um, but yeah, so we shall see. We're not the droids you're looking for.
But we're the droids you're gonna get.